to go back to your experience as not being a fast reader early on. You said it took you to about second grade to figure out reading and feel confident. And I talked, like I say, with Avi. Mark your calendars, esteemed audience, is Kevin. And he, of course, famously has dysgraphia and has talked often about that and how that's impacted him as a reader into a writer. And that maybe fueled his desire to become a better reader. And I was reading about you and about how I think you were taking ginger candies to really concentrate and continue reading.
Yes.
Which I'd never heard before. What does that do?
Well, it was actually because we, at certain points in my childhood, we moved all the time. Usually within the same school district, but I moved a lot as a kid. We were always in rentals that were kind of falling apart and bad. And my mom really tried, but it was hard. And I remember there were different points in my childhood when we spent a lot of time driving different places because we were living in the middle of nowhere in Western New Jersey at one point. It was like 20 minutes to go get groceries or 30 minutes to go to the grocery store. So that was like my precious reading time because I had schoolwork. And so, but I got motion sickness when I was in the car. And I discovered that if I had a ginger candy, because ginger is like an anti-nausea, it can reduce nausea. I discovered that when I would eat ginger candies, my motion sickness would go away. So I would my mom would happily, she would get me these ginger candies at the health food store. We always went to the health food store. And I was like that kind of family, like one of the health food. We didn't have money. Like we were very financially insecure when I was a child, but we always were going to the health food store. And I would have one of my health food store ginger candies, and I would be able to read for the 20-minute trip to the grocery store and back. Or also, I remember sometimes we lived in rentals that didn't have laundry, and we were actually in the middle, like seriously in the middle of nowhere as far as that can be in New Jersey, and there was no laundromat in our town. So every week we had to travel like 30 minutes each way to go to a laundromat in several towns over. So I would have my stack of library books and my ginger candies in the car. I remember sometimes it was too dark to read in the car. So I would have to wait until we were on. I would be like holding my book up to try to get the lights from outside to fall on the page I was reading. Yeah.
And you are outspoken supporter of libraries.
Yes.
I love this, a dedicated reader. So if you would talk a little bit about libraries and the difference they made for you in reading, and then I'll ask you my final question.
Sure. I mean, I don't know if I would have a book published or be a reader or a writer the way that I am if I hadn't had access to my school libraries and to the public library, because we didn't have any extra disposable income to buy books when I was a child. And when I was older, my mother actually got a better job. And by the time I was a teenager, she was making a decent wage, but she was a single mom. My dad, he moved back to Europe and didn't support us when I was a child. So there's like a lot of, and then he passed away. So it's like, we just didn't have a lot of financial security. And my mom would take me to the library usually twice a week. And that was my main access point for reading. And I would read so much that I would go through just stacks of books. And the librarians were always really helpful and understanding. And my school library was like it had a much smaller circulation than the public library. I remember feeling, of course it wasn't the librarian's fault, but I remember feeling frustrated that there really wasn't a lot to choose from. But it was a place that I could go to read. And I would often sneak there when I was supposed to be doing other things. Like I would not go to gym class, and I would go to the library instead in middle school, and no one stopped me. So when I look back on it now, I don't understand. Like I think I went to gym class, which was a class that showed up on your report card. I think in 7th grade I went fewer than a half dozen times. And when everyone else went to gym, I would just leave the line and go to the library, and no one said anything.
Well, they were training an athlete. They were training a writer.
Yeah, I guess so. It was just like I was extremely obedient as a child. I never broke rules. And I think that one was just, I tried it once or twice. No one said anything, and I just kept going.
I love that. I think maybe one of the best and worst things that ever happened to me. We weren't wealthy, although we were. This was the '80s, so the middle class still meant something.
Yeah.
We're middle class enough that I had a Game Boy, and sometimes I think that's the worst thing that ever happened to me, and the best because oh my God, do I love Mario? But also I think about how many books I could have also read if I had had that distraction there.
I guess so. I've never been good at video games. I remember my cousins had them, and if you had to choose someone to play against, like, hello, everyone picked me first because I don't have particularly great hand-eye coordination. And so I think that for me, video games were always really, when I was around them, they were really frustrating because I didn't have innate talent.
Well, they ruin your life. You're better off.
My husband plays them a lot. He really likes the games that have a narrative arc. So they're around. Like he plays Final Fantasy and some other ones. Zelda.
No, I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth. I've also gone on record as saying that if I find out at the end of my life that I could have written 1 or 2 or 3 more novels if I hadn't played Red Dead Redemption 2 or Breath of the Wild, fair trade.
Yeah, I think his idea. He just loves them so much that they're and I have an appreciation for them through him.